Are you extremely confused and lost in space as of what bundles are running? And what is an indie game? And why should I even buy an indie game bundle? How do I know which ones are running and which ones are worth buying when there are over 20 different bundle sites to keep track of all the time? How do I know what indie games are really great without having to spend money on trying them out myself? If you have found yourself asking these questions, you have came to the right place. I will feature weekly videos of tips on bundles currently running, as well as do reviews on spectacular indie games. I will also do first impression videos and then put these together with my final review, so you can definitely be sure you are getting a very good game. My name is Sigmund. I was born back in 1997 and I come from Sweden. One of my big hobbies are indie games. People sometimes laughed at me for having 200 indie games on my computer while they were playing Call of Duty or League of Legends. That did, however, not stop me from keep playing these spectacular games. Indie game is a game developed by a single person or team without the help of a big publisher, meaning they can have a really hard time to start out, to get on their feet. Indie bundles can help indie developers a lot, really a lot, as well as support charity, give you extremely cheap games, and a lot of fun. If you're a sheep ass like me, you definitely came to the right place on that one too. Indie bundles can be cheap or expensive depending on what you pay. Most of the time you get to choose what you pay yourself, because most of the bundles utilize a pay what you want system, where you simply pay what you want and get good games. Usually there are Steam keys to get at $1, or there's a minimum price to pay overall. But for example, in Humble Bundle, if you pay 1 cent, you get all the below the average games for DRM free. And if you pay $1, you get Steam keys. And a DRM is essentially just Steam or Desura, or well, more or less, if you have a CD key, then you have a DRM. Kind of. If you don't have a DRM, then you just have a .exe file that you run, and you just install the game, play it. Easy as pie. The BG average system works like this. If you pay more than what the average person pays, you get bonuses. You get more games than someone that didn't pay over the average. Sometimes there are even tiers to get. There could be 3 tiers. If you pay $1, you get Steam keys for the below the average game. If you pay more than the average, you get some extra games. And if you pay a specific amount of, say, $35, which is an extremely high amount for an indie game bundle, but let's say you would pay that, you would get a new game out of a big indie publisher. And yes, there are big indie publishers like Double Fine. They are still indie developers. They don't have a big publisher. They publish their games themselves, as well as the developers of Binding of Isaac, Super Meat Boy, and those. They are also indie developers. Even if they're kind of big enough to call them not indie developers, they're still indie developers because they don't have a publisher. And in conclusion, here are the top 10 reasons in no particular order to why you should buy an indie game bundle. It supports the developer more than if you buy the game on Steam or Green Man Gaming, because the developer gets a bigger cut. It gives you the option to pay what you want. It gives you the option to pay more than a specific price to get even more games. It helps charity. Many bundles have charity. Many of them have it all the time. Like Humble Bundle have EFF and Child's Play. Many others use Child's Play as an extremely common charity, which supports hospitals all around the world to get kids to have a better time at their hospital. You have an extremely wide range of games to select from, as there are bundles running constantly. And you are sure to get a lot of bang for the buck, as well as it's being very cheap. You get to have a much bigger game library than your fellow AAA gamers. And the AAA gamers came with a big budget, like Call of Duty Ghost, Bioshock Infinite, or yeah, something like that. You get to listen to a lot of extremely good indie game music. Out of personal experience, I can say that indie game music is far better than any AAA game music. You get to play the best games in the world. Yeah, this is also an opinion of mine, but if you disagree with everything on this list, I don't know why you're here. This is going to be an indie game channel, and finally, you get to be a very cool person. I couldn't come up with anything better, okay? If you have any questions, feel free to ask them, and I will gather up a frequently asked questions in the description of this video. Hope to see you around, fellow indie gamer. Bye bye!